It is 7 p.m. on Monday, January 27th, 2020. I'd like to call this meeting of the Lansing City Council to order and ask that the clerk please call the roll.
Councilmember Betts. Here. Councilmember Dunbar. Councilmember Garza. Here. Councilmember Hussein. Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Spatafor.
Present.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Here.
Councilmember Wood.
Here.
There are 7 members present at quorum. Councilmember Jackson is absent.
Councilmember Jackson was here for the Committee of the Whole but was not feeling well and went home, so he will have an excused absence this evening. Next up is meditation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Is there anyone the council or mayor or the clerk wish to have us keep in our thoughts? Councilmember Wood.
75 years ago today was the liberation of Auschwitz concentration camp. At that camp, 1.1 million men, women, and children died at that camp. If we could remember those that lost their lives, the families that survived, and the impact that this had on our nation.
Thank you, Councilmember Wood. Any others? If you all rise, please. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have for your approval the printed council proceedings of January 13th.
Thank you. Vice President Hussein, do we have a motion to approve the printed council proceedings from January 13, 2020?
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Hussein. Is there, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
We are to comments by council members and the city clerk.
Any council members wishing to make comments at this time? Councilmember Betts.
This coming Saturday at 11 a.m. at the BWL train depot, I think it's 1201 South Washington Avenue, we'll be having our first ward constituency meeting, and the announcement's on my Facebook page if you'd like to go there and double check the info. So hoping to see a lot of people out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember, Vice President Hussein.
We will be having our third ward constituent contact meeting on February 8th, 10 to 12 noon. That's at 5825 Wise Road, which is the Elfrida Schmidt Southside Community Center. We meet in the Sandy Allen Room, which is right off of the parking lot, and I certainly hope he knows, but Andy Shore will be our special guest on February 8th. So bring your questions and your comments and your concerns and your affirmations and those types of things to the meeting. It should be a good time. With that being said, we also have the Lansing Eat Neighborhood Organization monthly meeting that will be February 6th at 6:30 p.m. That's at Wood Creek School at 4000 Wood Creek Lane. So all those folks that are part of the Lansing Eat Neighborhood Organization, we'd love to see you out there. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Antioch Church is announcing their grand opening of the Charles Terry Food Pantry, which is sponsored by the Antioch Cares Community Development Corporation. It's on the grand opening is February 1st from 12 to 2. It's located on 5430 South Washington in Lansing. This food pantry will be open every first Saturday, and there are no questions asked. When you come in, you don't have to apply for anything, but just come in and get in line to take advantage of it. Thank you.
Councilmember Garza.
Thank you, Council President. The second Saturday in the second ward would be my constituent contact meeting. It's this February 8th coming up. That's from 1 to 3 p.m. at 1435 East Miller Road. That's Fire Station 44, and that will be all constituents welcome to the second ward, and anything pertaining to South Lansing I'd like to discuss with you guys. So hopefully we'll see you out there. Food and drinks will be provided. Thank you.
Councilmember Wood.
Thank you, President Spatafor. Tomorrow is Rejuvenating South Lansing's January meeting, and that is the 28th at 6:30. They will be having the director of the 911 Ingham County Dispatch that will be there to answer questions and talk about information on how operators receive that and why they ask some of the questions that they do. Also, they will be talking about Smart 911. This is a program that the public can sign up for, and we'll bring more of that information back here to council as well. So again, that is the 28th at 6:30, and that is at the Southside Community Center on Wise Road in the Sandy Allen Community Room. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wood. Councilmember Dunbar.
Thank you. If anybody's feeling like they need to get out this weekend after they go see constituent contact in the first ward in Rio Town, you can come over to St. Kaz Church because we have winter farmers markets, our art markets every month on the first Saturday, and the February one is this Saturday, and it's from 10 to 2 in the St. Casimir Gym. And if you want more information on shopping, who's going to be there, or if you want to be a vendor, there's still some spots open, and you can go to southlansing.org. But if you live in the first ward, you got to go see Brandon first and then come see us.
Thank you, Councilmember Dunbar. Any other council members? Mr. City Clerk.
Thank you, President Spatafor. I do just want to let folks know that we have received the absentee ballots for the March 10th presidential primary. For those of you who've already requested one to vote at home, we will be mailing over 8,000 of those out on this Friday. So look for your ballot to arrive, I'm going to guess Monday, which coincidentally is the same day as the Iowa caucuses. So we'll be voting at the same time as they are starting there. There is still lots of time to request an absentee ballot for this election. And I do want to just point out state law regarding the presidential primary is that there are separate ballots for the Democratic candidates, Republican candidates, and then the proposals are on both of those ballots, and then there is a third ballot type for anyone who does not want to vote in the presidential primary but still wants to vote on the 5 local proposals that we have throughout most of the city. So it does unfortunately require you to declare which ballot you want. That is not carried forward to future elections. It doesn't bind or lock you in any way from voting however you want to in future elections. But if you do want to vote in the March election, you do have to select which party ballot you would like. And with that, we are to community event announcements. If there's anyone in the audience who has a community event, we'll give you 1 minute to tell us the details. And seeing none, I will announce that if you wish to address the City Council on legislative matters, there's a blue sign-in sheet in the back, and if you have not signed in and want to address the council on the resolutions that they'll be considering tonight, please jump up right now. And we are now to the mayor's comments.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So a few things that I want to make sure folks know about. One, I am aware I'm coming to Adams Constituent Contact. Thank you for the invitation, Councilman. And for the other ward members, I'm happy to visit any others. I know I try and do once or twice a year, and Adam was actually the first one I talked to, but Jeremy and Brandon and Brian, I'm happy to come to any of yours. Let's find the right date that works for you. I don't want to just show up unless you want me to. So I appreciate that. Otherwise, I want to remind everybody this Wednesday, Governor Whitmer will be giving her State of the State address. I believe it's at 7 p.m. At the Capitol building, but it should be televised, so anybody who wants to see what our governor has in store for us for the next year, her ideas and thoughts, tune in. February 5th will be the State of the City, so I will give a speech, and we will all be there, and it should be a whole lot of fun. It always is. Last year there was dancing, but not by me. You should all be happy about that. The State of the City is February 5th at the Abigail, which is the old School for the Blind, at 6 p.m. Then I want to kind of looking into the future. February 13th, we're going to have a press conference in the Baker neighborhood to give an annual update. It will be at the Bethlehem Lutheran Church at 1 p.m. On February 25th is our next neighborhood summit, which we are really trying to get folks to come to see the neighborhood resources and talk about budget or whatever else they want to talk about. That'll be February 25th at Sexton. And then really far into the future, but still incredibly important, April 1st, I want everyone to know that we will have our census breakfast kickoff at Geyer at 8 a.m. So we've got our complete count committee that's pushing towards April 1st, and then on April 1st, we will be doing a big kickoff breakfast, and I hope everybody is remembering to push for being counted. Census is incredibly important to our city, as we all know, and we're going to continue to spread that message and push for people to fill out that census when it starts in April. So that's what I've got, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, we are to public comment on legislative matters. And we do not have any public hearings, so the eligible items are the items listed under the consent agenda and resolutions for action, and the first speaker is Mitch Rice.
Thank you, President Spatafor and City Council members. I just had one note that when I was looking through the packet, I was encouraged to see that there may be a rezoning of 5400 South Cedar to make it useful. It is a former Kmart, and looking at changing the zoning from the F commercial J parking district to G2 wholesale. Looks like it may be a useful change, even though it might not bring as much tax from what it indicated. It looks like U-Haul wants it, and U-Haul's up the street, but that'll make that place, that area more vibrant since it's been empty for a while. So that was all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are to the consent agenda.
Mr. Vice President.
The consent agenda tonight will include 1A, a tribute and recognition of Lansing Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Annual Red and White Affair Diamond Jubilee. 1B, which is a tribute and recognition of Brian Sturdivant. 2A, a resolution of confirmation of appointment for James McClurkin, as an at-large member of the Historic District Commission for a term to expire June 30th, 2022. A confirmation of reappointment for Josh Hovey as the Planning Board Representative Member of the Board of Zoning Appeals for a term to expire June 30th, 2021. We will be removing 3A and B, but we will be including 3C on the consent agenda, which is an amendment to the Articles of Incorporation of the Lansing Entertainment and Public Facilities Authority. 3D, which is council rule revisions to amend Rule 4, dealing with appointment of committee members and creation of ad hoc committees. And Rule 10, dealing with consent agenda per council rule number 41. The motion was actually made, I believe, last week. So we'll be actually approving that tonight, or looking to approve that tonight. 4A deals with 2020 council committees. 4B is a resolution to establish an ad hoc committee on housing and resident safety. And 4C is a resolution to establish an ad hoc committee on policy review and modernization. With that being said, I move the consent agenda.
Are there any, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
And we are to the resolutions by the Committee of the Whole.
First up is a confirmation of the appointment of Nathan Triplett on the City of Lansing member for the Capital Area Transportation Authority. Vice President Hussein.
We actually do have Nathan Triplett with us tonight, so as I introduce him, we'd invite him up to the well so that he can be sworn in. Nathan is a resident of the 4th Ward. He has lived in the city of Lansing since November of 2019, so we want to welcome him to the city of Lansing. He's a relatively new resident. He is the current CATA board chair. He's actually been on the CATA board for over 10 years as an East Lansing representative. He, in his application, cited a desire to remain in the position of CATA board and continue efforts to provide high-quality public transportation services to Lansing and the region, and to make transit a central consideration in regional development and improve rider services. We've had Mr. Triplett in front of us a few times, incredibly well-versed, always very, very well-prepared. I think he tends to be one of the better interviewers we actually bring down here. On a personal note, I've reached out to Mr. Triplett a few times over the past couple years as he served on the CATA board, and I always appreciate his timeliness and his earnest sincerity in trying to move some of the issues that we bring before him. So with that being said, I'd move the appointment of Mr. Triplett.
Thank you, Vice President Hussein. There is a motion before us to approve the appointment of Nathan Triplett as a City of Lansing, member of the Capital Area Transportation Authority Board with a term to expire September 30th, 2021. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Nathan.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Capital Area Transportation Authority Board Member according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. And while they're signing, if Councilmember Hussein would make the following motion.
The next resolution deals with the confirmation of appointment for Mr. Michael Redding as an at-large member of the Board of Review for a term to expire June 30th, 2021. Michael Redding is with us as well tonight, so I invite him down to the well. Michael Redding is a Third Ward resident. He has lived in the city of Lansing since 1983. He is a longtime Churchill Downs Community Association member, neighbor. He is the current president of the association. As I stated in committee of the whole, he is just incredibly involved with all things City of Lansing. And so we certainly appreciate him and his willingness to elevate, some of that involvement, which we didn't think was possible. So with that being said, I'd move the appointment.
There's a motion on the table to appoint Michael Redding as an at-large member of the Board of Review for a term to expire June 30th, 2021. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Redding.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Board of Review member according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
And we are to the 6 vote items by the Committee on Ways and Means.
Councilmember Wood.
Thank you, President Spatafor. The first resolution that we have before us this evening is a grant from the National League of Cities and the J.P. Morgan Chase and Company. This grant is going to the Neighborhood and Citizen Engagement Group. It is for $30,000. This grant is a continuation of the one that we had received in July for $10,000. This is monitoring fees and fines that are being levied. They are looking at, after their study, they ended up deciding to look at driving while license is suspended. The $30,000 will include $12,000 for goods and services, and those goods and services will be a contract with Firecracker Foundation to do restorative justice. $13,000 will be used to offset personnel that are currently employed by the City of Lansing. And then there is $5,000 that will be used for incentives. These would include the waiver of fees. Currently, they are looking at inviting 150 participants in this. Part of this would also require them to go through the Financial Empowerment Center for education as well. So with that, I would move this resolution and be glad to answer any questions on it.
There is a motion in front of us. Is there any discussion or questions for Councilmember Wood? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next item, Councilmember Wood.
Thank you. The next item that we have is a grant that came from the Battle Creek Community Foundation. This grant is in tandem with Parks and Rec and the Lansing Police Department. This would be for midnight basketball on Friday and Saturdays. This grant would pay $15,616.38 toward goods and services. It would pay $21,218.15 in overtime for police officers that would be actually there during those times. The entire grant is for $36,834.54. There is no match that is required by the city. They intend to have these games being held at the Lett Center and also at the Elfrida Smith Center, and this would be working with children, again, 16 to 24. We did ask for information since this program was going on last year about approximately how many youth that they had participated in this. They believe that the number was around 30. And one of the other questions that we asked that we're getting feedback on at a later date, and we'll bring it back to the council, is how the kids are getting home after the midnight basketball, whether parents are picking them up, whether they're walking home, and how we can assure that there isn't a curfew issue during that time. So with that, I would move the acceptance of this grant and be glad to answer any questions.
There is a motion to accept the grant. Is there any discussion or question? Seeing one, Councilmember Vice President.
I'm just curious, before we vote on this. So I believe we supported this out of the general fund in fiscal year 2019, correct? Last year, I didn't think this program was ongoing last year.
Mr. Mayor.
That's right. Yeah, we did have a midnight basketball program last year. Now, midnight basketball is kind of a stretch. It was like a 9 p.m. It was a nighttime basketball that went for a few hours. I don't know the answer on how kids were getting home. I assume some walked and some had rides, and there were some older teens and there were some younger ones. But it was a program that we tried last year, with some general fund dollars. And it was mostly successful, but we wanted to add in a lot more programming, a lot more resources for the parents and other things, and the grant that LPD was able to get will do just that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Vice President Hussein, any further questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Next item, Councilmember Wood.
Thank you. The next grant that we're looking at is also from the Battle Creek Community Foundation and the U.S. Attorney General's office. This is called Project Safe Neighborhood Program. This grant is for the amount of $25,194.70. It's a one-time grant. The goods and services that this would provide are $21,504.70, and the personnel is $3,689. What this would do is have community engagement and mini workshops with LPD officers working with children between 8 and 15 as one of the components with this. It would also have a pop-up portable basketball hoops and balls. The two of those would be purchased and used by LPD. They would also have an LPD program that would talk about health and fitness. They'd also be creating 3,000 welcome packets for Neighborhood Watch. They also have a program in the Baker neighborhood, which is called Light Up Lansing, and you would have officers going door to door giving out light bulbs. The officer in charge of this would come under the Community Service Department, so Officer Kasha Osborne would be the person responsible for this. There is no additional match money from the city as part of this, and this further enhances our community policing grants activities that we're doing. Be glad to answer any questions. I move that resolution.
There is a motion before us. Are there any questions for Councilmember Wood? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you. Our next grant that we are looking at is a Michigan State Police Technology Enhancement and the Burn JAG grant for FY 2020. This grant is in the amount of $133,200. It's all going towards goods and services. They will be looking at real-time crime video analysis software in the amount of $101,250 and a video processing redacted for hardware, and that would be $31,950. And we receive these grants. It is a one-time grant, even though yearly we've been able to capture those dollars and be able to use those. It is considered only a one-time grant. They are working with IT to make sure that the technology that they'd be looking at would interface with them with our current technology that we have. We've heard this, and it was a discussion that we had at different times where some of the technology that we've purchased has not interfaced well with others. This is something that they are making sure happens on the front end instead of the back end. So with that, I would move the acceptance of this grant.
Thank you, Councilmember Wood. There is a motion before us. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Next item, Councilmember Wood.
This is the last grant acceptance that we have. This is also a Burn Justice Assistance Grant, and this is the grant cycle for 2019. This grant is in the amount of $116,680. Of this, the city of Lansing would be receiving $105,454. The other entity that would receive dollars from this is Ingham County, which be $11,226. This item, they intend to use toward upgrading uniforms, as well as, again, some additional software that they need. The split is about 50-50 on this, and we have no idea what the in counties using with theirs. We're a pass-through with this, so we receive the grant, and then we pass through to Ingham County their portion of it. This is, again, a one-time grant, but as we just passed the 2020, you saw that this is the tail end of the 19, and sometimes these lag behind. This grant cycle is from October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2022, so it falls anywhere in there that they can issue those funds. So with that, I would move the grant. Be glad to answer any questions.
There is a motion before us. Are there any questions for Councilmember Wood on the grant? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Councilmember Wood.
Thank you.
Okay, we are to speaker registration. Oh,
Reports from council members, or council committees. Just real quick, the Committee on Development and Planning, I need to reread that into the record, will be chaired by Councilmember Spitzley, vice chaired by Councilmember Garza, with members Councilmember Betts and Councilmember Hussein.
okay, we are to speaker registration for public comment on city government-related matters. That's the yellow sheet in the back. If you wish to address council, you need to jump up right now and sign in if you haven't already. And in the meantime, we are to reports of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Mr. Vice President.
I move that all items be considered as being read in full and that the proper referrals be made by you, President Spatafor.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
We have minutes of boards, commissions, and authorities.
Place on file.
The City of Lansing 2019 Annual Report.
Committee of the Whole and the Internal Auditor.
Police and Fire Retirement System and the Employees Retirement System Actuarial Evaluation for Funding and Contributions as of December 31st, 2018.
Committee on Ways and Means and the Internal Auditor.
We have letters from the mayor regarding city fee, city market, a new fee, city market rental.
Committee on Ways and Means and the Internal Auditor.
Z9 2019, 3440 North East Street, conditional rezoning from F Commercial District to G2 Wholesale District.
The Committee on Development and Planning.
Z8 2019, 5400 South Cedar Street, rezoning from F Commercial and J Parking Districts to G2 Wholesale District.
The Committee on Development and Planning.
SLU 3 2019, 1315 Massachusetts Avenue, parking lot in the B Residential Zoning District.
The Committee on Development and Planning.
We have communications and petitions, a claim appeal from Curtis and Rosemary Renshaw for $4,955 in trash fees.
Committee on General Services.
We are to motion of excused absence.
We have a motion to excuse absent council members. Councilmember Spitzley.
Motion to excuse Councilmember Jackson.
There's a motion to excuse Councilmember Jackson. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay.
We are back to remarks by council members.
Anyone wishing to address the council? Seeing none.
And remarks by the mayor.
Mr. Mayor? Oh, I'm sorry, from council members. We'll get to public comment in just a moment, ma'am.
If they're still here, I wanted to congratulate Mike Redding and Nathan Triplett. Mike's still here. So congratulations, Mike. We're excited to have you on that board. Thank you.
Okay, now we are now to public comment. We have Mitch Rice and then Belinda Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, President Spatafor and council members. Just a couple quick things. One was last week was a long committee of the whole for first meeting, and I never got to the topic I'm going to mention now. I'm hoping that it wasn't a precedent, that it was an unusual meeting, because it was quite late and was very busy. So hopefully we'll take that input and try not to have late committee of the whole when you have a regular meeting. That would be appreciated by a constituent. The other item is, this is just a safety thing, and I'm just throwing this out there to be thought of. It's probably a long shot, but I live in South Lansing and often am on Cedar Street, right around Meyer, and I think last December there was a pedestrian car accident. It's a really tough place. Can't seem to get the people not to want to cross there. And if you're making a left out of the Meyer to go south on Cedar, they're crossing just by the now closed Pizza Hut. North of that, by K North, is a crosswalk, but nobody seems to use it for safety. It's a very difficult place, and if there was any way the city could do something to a new crosswalk, to a different way to get across there, it would be helpful to everybody involved. It's a very busy area that needs something to help it, because there's so much pedestrian. There's also the bus stop that is right there at the Meyer. So you've got a lot of foot traffic, and then they're going back across the street or up the street. So maybe it could be something that could be looked at. It'd have to be a big budget item, but nobody seems to use the crosswalk north of Miller around K North. They like to go as close as possible and carry their bags. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Belinda Fitzpatrick.
Belinda Fitzpatrick, 224 South Holmes Street. I'd like to ask for a legal position from the city attorney's office. The church next door to my house, 230 South Holmes Street, is seeking reclassification. And this had a meeting and it was tabled, but it said in this reclassification that based on the seating capacity in the sanctuary, 20 parking spaces are required. The church property can accommodate the required 20 spaces. And the minister has posted that the sanctuary size is 100, and therefore they'd need 33.3, but that they only have 22. Now, I'm wondering legally, can you grant a reclassification when there's not enough parking spaces to meet the requirements of this, I think it was Chapter 1284 in the zoning code? Because I don't think they can. And I think it's in the best interest of the neighborhood if Unity were to move. They paid $99 for that building, and from the insurance, they're getting something like, I understand, $400,000 to $600,000. So I don't like hearing this pity party, and it's just going to have too much of an impact on the neighborhood. Extending their parking lot beyond what I would believe was the 12 spaces that were grandfathered in to be behind my house is going to create a nuisance for me. It's a nuisance for the neighborhood. We have two churches, one at the end of the 200 block over here, and then across the street on the other end of the 200 block. And yeah, I admire the work that Jerry Norris does, but I think when you start combining with the demands for the Fledge, plus that diverter that blocks access to Michigan Avenue, and then Unity's gonna have this demand, and there's a letter where one of the neighbors says it ends up being a one-way street. So you're gonna have no access for emergency vehicles. You know, I'm on the 200 block. If my house catches fire and they're both having concerts,
Thank you.
they're not going to get to me. They're not going to get to anybody having a heart attack. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Council Vice President, oh. We're all set.
Yes.
Council Vice President Hussein.
There was a misunderstanding on the consent agenda, and I do apologize. We thought that everybody had the resolutions pertaining to 4B and C. I do believe it is. So I would move at this time so that we can have some discussion, reconsideration of item 4B, which is the establishment of the Ad Hoc Committee on Housing and Resident Safety. I believe I have to move these respectively, correct?
There is a motion to reconsider in front of us. Any further discussion needed? All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries, and we are going to stall just a bit while the papers are passed out in front of you so we can vote legally. Thank you, Councilmember Wood. There was it wasn't, to be clear, it wasn't Councilmember Hussein's fault on this. There was a technical issue in getting those in the packet. So the first item is the resolution establishing an ad hoc committee on housing and resident safety. The goal is to review current ordinances and policies, to meet with stakeholders, community members, and city staff to address and assist residents in housing safety and tenant issues. As president, I'm recommending the appointment of Councilmember Spitzley as the chair of the Ad Hoc Committee on Housing and Resident Safety, with council members Hussein serving as vice president and Betts serving as the third member. The Ad Hoc Committee on Housing and Resident Safety will report their findings and recommendations to the Committee of the Whole no later than September 1, 2020, and the committee will be dissolved on September 1, 2020. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hussein. Is there any further discussion? Sorry about that confusion. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Oh,
Yeah, we have them both. I would also move the reconsideration of item 4C, establishment of the ad hoc committee on policy review and modernization.
thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Hussein. This ordinance will create the ad hoc committee on policy review and modernization to review the city charter, ordinances, and city policies over which city council has jurisdiction to determine if they are clear, up-to-date, and comport with current practices and resource realities. As council president, I'm appointing myself as the chair of this committee, and Councilmember Wood is the vice chair, with Councilmember Dunbar serving as the third member. The committee also will report its findings to the committee of whole no later than September 1, 2020, and will be dissolved on the same date. It has been moved. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
I'll actually move the item. I don't think it has been moved.
Oh, that's right.
So moved.
I thought you moved it, my bad. It has been moved now. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Say nay. Motion carries. Thank you all. With no further business before the Lansing City Council, at 7:41, we are adjourned.